Mumbai has become a political hotbed. Local body elections have been announced and things are getting spicy. Until now, political battles that were fought through social media and press conferences have now moved to poster wars and defections. This is not just another civic body election. This is a battle over who controls Mumbai and therefore Maharashtra. Hello, I am Mukund Kadlubal and you're watching KATV India. In this video, we're going to break down why the BMC elections were delayed for 4 years, why these elections matter so much, the new political equations after the Shiv Sena split, the poster war that has been going on in Mumbai, and the narrative battles ahead of the BMC elections, and what will actually decide the BMC elections and who is the front runner to form the BMC government. So let's start with the basic. The BMC stands for the Brihanmumbai Municipal Corporation. It is Asia's richest civic body, with an annual budget of around 75,000 crores, bigger than several Indian states' budget itself. So why was there a 4-year delay to conduct the BMC elections? The last BMC elections were held in 2017. The elections were due in 2022, but they were postponed for nearly 4 years. That is, it is going to be held in 2026 next. So why was this delay? There were two major reasons for this delay. Firstly, it was the OBC reservation dispute. The Supreme Court had mandated a triple test formula before the OBC reservation could be implemented in local body election. So that process was not completed on time, leading to legal challenges. Secondly, there was issues regarding ward delimitation. There were disputes over ward boundaries while maintaining the total number of wards at 227. These new boundaries were challenged in court, further delaying these elections. So after the courts cleared the way and the elections were allowed without updated OBC data, could the State Election Commission finally announce the schedule? So now the schedule has been announced. And the schedule is as follows. These are the key dates for the schedule. So the nomination filing process starts on December 23rd and goes on to about December 30th of the year 2025. The scrutiny of these nominations will take place on December 31st. The option to withdraw your nomination, the deadline to do so is on January 2nd. The symbol allotment is on January 3rd and polling for the BMC election takes place in January 15th. And counting and the results shall be out on January 16th of 2026. So this is a single phase election, not just for the BMC, but for 28 other municipal corporations across Maharashtra. In total, about 3.5 crore voters will elect 2,800 corporators across Maharashtra. But today we want to focus on one corporation and one civic body election, that is the BMC election, which is in Mumbai. So the popular narrative in Maharashtra is that whoever controls BMC controls Maharashtra, and Mumbai's roads, flyovers, water supply, drainage, solid waste management, public hospitals, schools and a host of other civic duties fall under the BMC. So the quantum of amount for these projects or maintaining Mumbai's infrastructure goes up to thousands of crores, as I've said before. But speaking from a purely political lens, these elections have very little to do with urban governance, but more to do with money, optics and political leverage in the state of Maharashtra. So let me tell you why this case is actually so. For the BJP, the BMC elections is about continuing their dominance as we had seen in the previous assembly election. And it gives them an opportunity to placate their cadre and second-rung leaders who had missed out in the 2024 assembly elections. And loyal karyakartas and other party workers can also be accommodated in positions of power at the local body level, not only in BMC but across the state in civic body elections. For the Shiv Sena or the Shiv Sena Shinde faction, the BMC election is about formalizing its legitimacy. There have been a lot of claims from Shiv Sena UBT saying that they are the original Shiv Sena and the Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde faction is a Gaddar faction or a disloyal faction. So this gives an opportunity for the Eknath Shinde-led Shiv Sena to stake its claim as the true faction of the erstwhile Shiv Sena. While the win in the assembly elections a year ago did a lot of good for Eknath Shinde, he knows that the real fight is in the BMC, the true battlefield of the Shiv Sena and the Thackerays. Shinde has the symbol, name and the leaders, but a win at the BMC will solidify his claim as the true representative of Bal Thackeray's Shiv Sena and Mumbai's Marathi Manus. For Uddhav Thackeray and the Shiv Sena UBT faction and his son Aditya Thackeray, the fight is more critical and serious. The Shiv Sena UBT already took a beating in the assembly election. They won only 20 out of 95 seats. Since then, they have lost control of their cadre, shakhas and second-rung leaders. The upcoming BMC elections are about political survival, which is why the long-separated Thackeray brothers, Uddhav Thackeray and Raj Thackeray, are now back together for the BMC elections. So let's take a look at the BMC election results in 2017. To understand these stakes, we have to look at how the 2017 elections played out. The Shiv Sena, the unified Shiv Sena got 84 seats, the BJP got 82 seats, the Congress got 31 seats, and the NCP got 9 seats. So these were the seat split. The MNS got about 7 seats and others and independents won the remaining amount of seats. So no party had a clear majority. Shiv Sena and BJP came together with 166 seats, which allowed the Shiv Sena to control the BMC, even though the alliance later turned bitter, as we all know. The margins in many wards were razor thin. That is, there were no single side victories in a lot of these constituencies. So this is the first time the BMC election is taking place after the split of the Shiv Sena, which has reshaped Maharashtra's politics. The Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray faction of the Shiv Sena lost many corporators and has a weakened ground level organization in many wards. But since then, the UBT has also been rebuilding ward committees, booth committees, local networks from scratch and also strengthening its ground level organization. But the UBT has a lack of political leverage. It has no power at any level of government. Their leaders keep harping about loyalty and emotional connect to Mumbai. This has caused the aspirational cadre from the party to gravitate to the Eknath Shinde faction, who can provide money, influence, power and the ability to get work done. On the other side, the Shinde group or the Shinde faction is consolidating its position with the BJP's organizational strength. So the city largely is politically divided. The island part of the city is traditionally a stronghold for the Maha Vikas Aghadi or the Shiv Sena UBT and the Congress. The suburbs have a clear edge for the Mahayuti or the BJP and the Shiv Sena Shinde faction. As per the 2024 election trends, if you superimpose the 2024 assembly election results, you will see that the Mahayuti leads in about 133 wards and the Aghadi leads in about 94 wards. So this is where swing factor becomes crucial. That is, a lot of alliances can determine the factor of this election or the results of this election. So data shows that about 70 wards out of the 266 wards of the BMC, nearly 70 amongst of these wards are where margins were very small and the MNS's vote share was greater than the victor's vote share or the victor's margin. So today, Raj Thackeray's MNS can decide outcomes in dozens of wards, especially in areas like Dadar, Mahim, Sion and Kurla, which are strongholds of the MNS. So even a 4 to 5% vote share can swing results. This is why any possible alliance between UBT and MNS is being closely watched. So now, as all of you would have followed the news in Maharashtra or Mumbai, there's been a poster war that has been taking place in Mumbai. So what exactly is a poster war that everyone is talking about? Again, the narrative of the UBT and the MNS while pasting these posters across the city have been that it's a black poster with white text that was stuck overnight across various areas of Mumbai, which loosely translated into these slogans. Marathi people, wake up. This is a fight for your existence. Save Mumbai, save Maharashtrians. So this was the sort of narrative that was being shown through these posters of the Shiv Sena, UBT and the MNS. So the message was very clear. It was the narrative of Marathi identity or the Marathi Manus of Mumbai being in threat, being under threat due to the ruling party or the Mahayuti's governance. So for those of you who don't know how Mumbai's demography is shaped, about 38 to 40% of Mumbai's electorate are comprising of Marathi speaking voters. They are the single largest voting bloc. This vote kept the undivided Shiv Sena in power for decades. For the Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray faction, this election is about survival. After losing the power, symbol and the organization of their party, the BMC is the last fortress of the Shiv Sena UBT. Lose Mumbai and the Thackeray brand takes a massive hit. So what is the BJP narrative amongst all of these poster wars? The BJP's posters have largely said that the BMC is not a family business. Those who couldn't protect Hindutva can't protect Marathis. Servant of Mumbai are not a servant of a family, which is aimed directly at the Thackeray family. And they also pointed out instances saying if you ruled Mumbai for 25 years, why is the city's civic infrastructure in such a bad shape? So these narratives did not have any idea or have any identity or any sort of emotional resonance. It was purely fact-driven and development-driven. The BJP wants the election to be exactly about this. Governance, corruption, infrastructure delays, potholes, flooding, contractor mafias during the earlier Shiv Sena time. Their target audience for such a narrative of the BJP are suburban voters, middle class voters, and your normal migrant voters and professionals and other salaried class of Mumbai. So it's an important thing to say that non-Marathi voters make up of more than 60% of Mumbai's electorate. So the BJP strategy is simple. Marathi pride alone cannot win the BMC. You need cross-community support. Not one community can take you across the line. So here's the truth. Marathi votes are necessary but not sufficient. Even at its peak, Shiv Sena needed non-Marathi support to win. This election will be decided in mixed wards where the voters ask two questions. Who represents me and who actually can get my work done at the local level? So all of this is fine. These are the narratives that are largely being propagated by either side. But there's one other factor that is taking place in the underlayer of the ruling party alliance. That is the tension between the ruling party's alliance itself. Shiv Sena Eknath Shinde wants the mayor's post in the eventuality that the BMC election is won by the Mahayuti, and the BJP of course also stakes claim to the mayor post themselves. So there is a big undercurrent of rift or an uneasy feeling between the two major parties of the Mahayuti. So while they fight Uddhav Thaccuray's faction of Shiv Sena on the outside, there's a big undercurrent that is flowing on the inside. So here's what I think the BMC election is all about. It is about Sena versus Sena. It is about Sena Uddhav Thaccuray versus Sena Shinde. On one side you have Eknath Shinde trying to prove his legitimacy once again and trying to lodge the final nail in the coffin of the SSUBT or the Shiv Sena UBT, positioning himself as the true Marathi leader and the heir to Balasaheb Thackeray. On the other side, you have the Thackeray family coming in together in one last attempt for survival. A defeat here will most likely end their political careers. So this is how the politics in Mumbai is largely placed as of now before the BMC election. Let us know what you think and which alliance will trump and why. So this has been my time here on KATV India. Thank you for joining us and see you in the next video.